I spotted this vintage waterfall style chest sitting out with the trash, and you better believe I pulled over and scooped it right up into the back of the van. Now, this piece is old, but it doesn't have any special veneer designs or interesting hardware like some of the other pieces from its era. It's a basic, budget friendly version that's got an almost opaque finish on it already. So instead of trying to restore this one, I'm going to give it a new beginning with a fresh coastal cottage vibe. Think soft colors, breezy charm, and just the right amount of character. So stick around as I clean this up, smooth things out, and turn this curbside cast off into a charming statement piece. I'm going to give this dresser the second chance it deserves. Not all vintage furniture is sacred. This dresser wasn't high-end to begin with. It was mass-produced with plywood, some basic nailed-together joinery, and made to be fast and affordable, not a timeless heirloom treasure. There's no special wood grain or fancy veneer inlay patterns to preserve. The finish is basically already paint. Light brown, dark brown, and a little yellow, with barely any of the wood grain showing through. In this case, my creative freedom is only going to add to the value and give it a new lease on life by making it more desirable in today's market. I always think these little waterfall chests are perfect for extra storage in small spaces like nurseries or kids' rooms. And I want to give this one a makeover that might feel right at home in one of the many summer beach house rentals here on the East Coast, with some whimsical blue and white stripes, staying in the lane of rustic and lived in, but cute and coastal ready instead of its current dragged down the driveway aesthetic. With the drawers pulled out, I don't see too much wear along the runners. They definitely don't glide in and out like a new dresser with ball-bearing slides, but they're in great shape for their age and function exactly like they should. I am going to be swapping out these wood handles for some new knobs, so I'm going to get these all unscrewed and just put them away in my vintage hardware collection, so hopefully I can use them on another project later on. There is a lot of dust and a few decent cobwebs clinging to the inside of the frame, so a quick vacuum is in order before I give everything a good scrub down with some simple green, just to make sure that I get all the dirt and grime off of the outside and don't end up accidentally grinding any oils or silicones from old furniture polish down into the porous wood when I start sanding things. To fill in these old hardware holes, I'm going to use some heavy-duty two-part epoxy filler. You have to mix the base putty that comes in the can with a little bit of the cream hardener that comes in this separate little tube, and that starts a chemical reaction that hardens things. I did also pop some masking tape on the insides of the holes so that I can push it all the way through and get a nice solid fill and nothing oozes out the back on me. It does start to cure pretty quickly, so you really only have a few minutes to work with it, and I only mix up small batches at a time so I don't end up wasting a lot of it by having it harden on me before I can get it where it needs to be. While that finishes setting up, I'm going to start sanding the body of the dresser. I obviously have a lot of scratches that need to be smoothed out, and I want to get rid of as much of this finish that's already wanting to let go and kind of crumbling away as I can. Although I don't necessarily need to sand all the way back to bare wood on here, I guess I'm going to because this stuff is just disappearing without much effort at all. And I'm kind of glad about it because now I know that my new finish will be bonding to a solid, stable surface rather than just sitting on top of one that's compromised and already coming away. To make sanding the sides a little easier for me, I'm going to turn the cabinet over, but I did lay down an old towel on the floor first so that I'm not adding even more scratches and dents from the rough cement floor out here in the garage. Now that everything is sanded smooth and dusted off really well, I'm ready to move on to primer. For this project, I'm using Bin shellac-based primer. It's my go-to for most of my furniture flips because it provides both some serious adhesion power and stain blocking. Especially on older pieces like this, it's nice because they tend to have tannins and even mystery stains that can bleed up through a new finish and ruin it. I'm going to roll it on with a microfiber roller for some quick, even coverage. I don't like to put this stuff through my sprayer because it needs either ammonia or denatured alcohol to clean it up. And if it touches even a single drop of water, and there's usually some water in my gun after cleaning it, it seizes instantly and can really wreck the guts of a spray gun. So I just skip that drama altogether. It's got a pretty thin consistency and it dries really fast, so you can recoat almost right away if you need to. It does have a pretty strong smell though, so make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area or even throw on a respirator if you're working inside. You can already see how much cleaner and more uniform the dresser looks with just this one coat. This stuff lays down the perfect foundation for a smooth and really long-lasting painted finish. And like I said, it locks down any weird bleed-through situations that might try and sneak up later on. With the primer fully dried, I'm going to very lightly sand off any rough spots or little roller lint that might have dried onto the surface, dust things off one more time, and then I'm ready to move on to paint. For the foundation color for my stripes, I'm using Cashmere by Fusion Mineral Paint. It's a nice, soft, neutral white with just enough warmth to keep it from looking too stark. Perfect for the cozy coastal cottage vibe I'm going for. I am going to spray this on just for the sake of time and convenience for me using my gravity-fed HVLP pneumatic sprayer. This setup just gives me a really fast and super smooth finish, but Fusion is specifically designed to be a paint that's brushed or rolled, so if spraying isn't ideal for you, that's totally okay. When I spray this, I usually thin the paint slightly, about 2 tablespoons of water to half a pint of Fusion, just to give it a little more time to level itself out before it starts to dry. And since Fusion has a built-in top coat, you don't necessarily always need to add an extra sealer unless it's a super high traffic piece. I'm still on the fence about whether I'm going to add one on here. I always try to spray in lighter, even passes to avoid drips or creating too much texture. And I let the first coat dry for about 2 hours before coming back out and applying a second. This paint has really great coverage with most of their colors, so 2 coats is going to be perfect on here. And I'm already loving how soft and fresh this color feels on this piece. I let the white paint dry overnight, and now I'm ready for the fun part. I am gonna add some cute hand-painted, kind of organic feeling blue stripes on here. I don't want it to look crisp or perfect, but as much as I'd love to just get out a brush and pretend like I could keep things even mildly straight or evenly spaced, I know myself better than that. So the type A part of my brain is going to measure and find the center point on here, make some reference marks down the front, and then I'm going to use some delicate grip painter's tape to map things out for myself first. Okay, so this is gonna be blue, white, and then I can do this blue. So all this trim piece will be blue. So I want that to be white, white, blue, white, blue. Okay. This paisley color is going to be the perfect beachy blue against my off-white. And I started with a really tiny stencil brush, thinking I was just going to kind of mark off the edges of each line with paint and then peel back the tape and fill things in with a bigger brush to get a slightly messier look. But I ended up just grabbing an appropriate size brush to put on the first full layer, and then I'll peel back the tape and soften up the edges a little bit with my second coat. Okay, now for my slightly sloppier, that's a terrible word, messier? I don't know. I don't know what to call this. I'm going to put on a second coat to fill things in and make it look a little more organic. That sounds better. Anywhere where I got a little too messy for my liking, or a couple of nice smudges that I made by accidentally dragging my hand through wet paint, I'll just go over with a little bit more of my base color once the blue paint is dry. Oh my gosh, I love how this is looking. There is just something incredibly satisfying about these bold blue and white stripes. It instantly gives me beach towel vibes, but in the best way. The soft hand-painted finish adds that relaxed, breezy charm that feels like summer in furniture form. It's super casual, and it's just got this kind of effortless, laid-back energy that makes me want to kick off my shoes and put my feet in the sand. This paint typically takes about 2 hours to dry, and it's got a pretty matte finish to it, which I think fits with this design, but I do still want to add a little bit more of a protective layer on top. So I'm going to buff on a layer of Fusion's beeswax finish. It goes on super easily and deepens the color ever so slightly. And once I wipe away the excess with a soft rag, it's going to leave behind this soft, almost velvety sheen without taking away from the really relaxed, lived-in vibe that this dresser has. Plus, like I said, it's going to add a gentle buffer against everyday wear and tear that furniture naturally gets. I have these big porcelain knobs from my hardware collection that kind of feel like beach balls or balloons. So I'm going to measure out where I want to drill new holes and get these installed. Okay, so I didn't love the white on white of the knobs. I mean, they were all right and could definitely work depending on the rest of the decor in whatever space this dresser ends up in, but I thought the hardware should have a little more contrast, so I ended up ordering these ones from Amazon and I'm gonna swap them out. I just think they look better on here. Oh yeah, I like that way better. Looking back at where this little dresser started, dragged down the driveway and forgotten, left out for trash, it is hard to believe that this is the same piece of furniture. What was once a dull, worn out cabinet has now turned into a light, beachy statement piece that is full of charm and personality. The hand-painted stripes, the soft off-white base, and these natural knobs all come together to give it that relaxed coastal cottage feel that I was after. This was never meant to be a high-end showpiece because not every piece of furniture needs to be. Sometimes giving something a second life means leaning into the playfulness and practicality of it. And now, instead of sitting out at the curb waiting for the trash truck, this dresser is ready to brighten up a space and bring a little breezy summertime storage all year round. Thank you so much for following along through this makeover process with me. I hope you had as much fun watching it as I did creating it. And I think I might actually head off to the beach now. The sun is out and it is finally warming up. So I will catch you all next time.